on Burton.
Be right back.
I never heard about him with another girl, but I don't sweat it because it's just pathetic to let it get me involved in that he said, she said crowd. I know that ain't nobody perfect. I give props to those who deserve it, and believe me, y'all, he's worth it. So here's to the future, cause we got through the past. I finally found somebody that could make me laugh. You so crazy. I think I wanna have your baby.
Could everybody please take their seats? We can get started, have a full program. First of all, I would like to welcome all of the new members for their first-time convention. And I would like to get this out of the way so it doesn't come up for every speaker and everything. So it's single payer what? Single payer what? Single payer what? Okay, now when the rest of the people are speaking, we've already said it and it's cool. And it's a very controversial issue among Democrats, you know, so we should disrupt everything worrying about it. But I just want to welcome the new members. This will be a very interesting experience. You're being called upon to elect a new chair and other officers, and you'll hear from our elected officials and you'll hear from the various candidates. But at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our secretary. No, what the hell are you, our treasurer, right? Hillary. All of them. Okay, we got Hillary Crosby. Daraka. Leamore. Daraka, the treasurer. Vice Chair Eric Bauman. First Vice Chair Alex Rooker. I never really said this to anybody in this thing publicly, but I had a half-assed stroke 2 years ago and I can't remember names, so Alex, I apologize. All right, it's a pleasure to give you Hillary Crosby, who's going to take care of the introductions business. This is her last term serving us as she did so well. I give you Hillary Crosby.
Hello, Democrats. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you all. For many of you, it's your first time. For me, this is my last time, but I really have had a great time, and I hope you do too. So thank you so much. I would like to welcome the Color Guard, the Davis Firefighters, Local 3494.
Present. On.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someday. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Order. On. Colors right. March. Forward. March.
Is it this guy? Khalil Yassir bravely served as an interpreter with the U.S. Army from 2003 to 2012. He now works as a caseworker helping refugees, including many other special immigrant visa holders, to begin their new life here in the U.S. So I want us to thank Khalil Yassir again for leading us in the pledge. And now I would like to introduce Pastor Alice Baber-Banks from the Christian Fellowship Ministry Church to lead us in the invocation. Thank you so much.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Praise God. Will you pray with me? God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Father God, we come before you and before all who are here today to just say thank you. Thank you for this day. Oh God, when we, thy children, stand apprehensive about the affairs of our world, remind us that you created the world and all things above and beyond it. Remind us, oh God, that you are not just a spectator God, high and lifted up. Thy feet that were wounded for us are still filled with the love and the concern for all people. We as the Democratic Party understand that we must stand strong. So we have come to this convention to build a strong party that will form a leadership that will lead America in the path where you would want us to walk and to where you want us to do what's right. We ask now that you will look upon the political leaders that stand to represent us as Democrats. Bless the leader of this party in this state and guide him through the valley of the shadow of death that we now face. It's just a shadow. Give him the leadership ability to direct the board members and the general membership to look at our nation right now. Look back and see where we fell short. We will strive to increase the number of votees and let them know that one vote counts and that all voters matter. We stand today with a broken spirit and a strong will to get the United States back in peace, where justice does matter. And with your help, God, this can be done. God, we ask that you create a sincere heart for all of those who strive for political fame. Make us better than that. Hear me when I pray for all of those in places of influence and authority, that they might do right. Guide those who are to lead us and touch them with your spirit, that their faith may be revived, that their hope be renewed and their vision be cleared. We're standing on the cliff of a battle that we have been fighting for many years. We're not going to just stand by and accept things that are not godly and pleasing in your sight. Oh God, sustain us. Get us back on the track, oh God, where all people matter. That all people have needs and desires, and all people were created by you in peace, oh God. The scripture said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, turn from the wicked ways and seek my face, then you will hear from heaven and I will heal your land. We need healing, oh God. We need healing right now. And oh God, when this happens, then we will be able as a nation under God with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. I would like to bring on Credentials Chair Michael Wagaman to give the preliminary credentials report.
Before the standard report everyone knows and loves, I have to report that yesterday the Credentials Committee heard and rejected a challenge to a prior CRC decision relating to Imperial County, noting as part of its decision that the challengers had the opportunity to participate in the credentials hearing and did not attend. With that, I can also report that as of the close of registration last night, we had 2,415 credential delegates. We have a quorum. Is there a motion to adopt the preliminary credentials report? Is there a second? I heard the second. Hearing no debate or discussion, all in favor? Opposed, abstained, thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Michael. So the agenda and rules are in your program book. And seeing no objections, all those in favor of adopting the rules of convention as distributed, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. The rules of convention are adopted. We're on, folks.
I get better at signing all the time. Delegates, it's a great pleasure of mine to introduce my member of Congress, leader in the fight against Donald Trump in the House of Representatives, leading fighter for health care, the Affordable Care Act. I give you Leader Nancy Pelosi.
I was getting my picture taken with the honor guard and thanking the pastor for her beautiful encouraging words of unity. Wasn't that lovely? Good morning, California Democrats. Thank you, John Burton, and God bless you for the many years of extraordinary leadership you would have given us as chairman of the California Democratic Party. Thank you, John Burton. It is my privilege to bring to this great convention the greetings of House Democrats, a caucus that is more than 50% women, people of color, and LGBT. We're proud of that. I also bring the gratitude of the California Congressional Delegation, a delegation that is leading the charge against the Trump agenda in Washington, D.C. Many of our members are here today. And thanks to every one of you who are here today. California Democrats confront the Trump agenda with a party that is strong, dynamic, and growing. Californians who have never been in politics before are mobilizing in marches, town halls, and volunteer meetings. How many of you walked in any of the women's marches? You have marched for progress. Now you must run for office. How many of you are here at this is your first convention? Beautiful. Let's give all of those first convention people a warm, warm welcome. I remember my first convention, I brought my 5 small children. Little did I know that I would go from the kitchen to the Congress, from homemaker to the first woman Speaker of the House. So to all of you, I say, know your power and be ready. Be ready for whatever opportunity comes your way. I know you are all seeking new opportunities, and that is the constant reinvigoration of our party and of our country. And Democrats believe in the equality of opportunity for all, no matter one's age, gender, race, religion, abilities, sexual orientation, or sexual identity. Democrats believe in quality public education and fully funded special education for all of our children. And that education is essential to opportunity. Democrats believe that immigrants make America more American. That instead of the bigotry of the Muslim ban, border wall, and deportation force, we need a path to citizenship for our dreamers, their families, and all of our other newcomers. Democrats believe in an economy that provides opportunity for all, good-paying jobs, union rights, a future of security and confidence, and a dignified retirement. Democrats believe that we must protect God's creation from the climate crisis and ensure environmental justice. And we will act upon our beliefs with fire in our hearts, energized by the engagement of our communities. While the Trump administration and the Republican Congress press their cruel agenda, Californians are stepping forward to drive new progress for hardworking American people. California will lead with a bold, optimistic vision that has always defined our golden state. We will work to create good-paying jobs of the future every day, for everyone, everywhere in our nation. We'll invest, again, in education and job training that ensures that our workers have careers that they can be confident in. And remember this, nothing brings more money to the Treasury to reduce the deficit than investing in education and lifetime learning. Nothing. We will build an economy and a society committed to building affordable housing and ending homelessness that gives working families the jobs and equity, not just jobs, but ownership that they've earned. where the contributions of immigrant families, of LGBT Americans and hardworking people are celebrated and valued. And we will protect our democracy by demanding the truth from the Trump administration about Trump-Russia connection. The appointment of a special counsel is a first good step inside the Justice Department. Appointment of our investigations in the Congress, inside the Congress, are good, but they are not enough. Inside the Justice Department, inside the Congress, we must continue to press for an independent outside commission to get the truth for the American people. Trump and the Republicans in Congress must stop stonewalling our quest for the facts. On another fight, in another front, on another fight, we are in a fight for the life and death consequences for families across America, the fight against the moral monstrosity of Trump Care. Trump Care means higher cost, fewer benefits, 24 million Americans losing health coverage, gutting key protections, a crushing age tax, and ransacking Medicare. And this is a really strange thing. All of that to give a tax break to the highest income people in our country. Trump Care is a billionaire tax break disguised as a health care bill, stealing $600 billion from working families and veterans to give big corporations and the richest in America $600 billion. It's horrible. Trump Care will devastate seniors, children, veterans, people with disabilities. Veterans, almost 7 million veterans will lose their tax credit under Trump Care. People with disabilities and pre-existing conditions will suffer. And Trump Care has been called the most damaging bill for women in the history of Congress. That's how bad it is for women. Be assured, we will make the fight, and we will never let them take away a woman's right to choose. In a vote this month, every single House Republican from California voted to make America sick again. Every single Republican congressman. We must ensure that they are held accountable in the election. Democrats believe in a moral truth that affordable health care is the right of every American, not just the privileged few. This conviction must continue to guide our relentless efforts to secure affordable, quality health care for all. We must defeat the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, but that is not our only fight. We must go further. The Affordable Care Act enables every state to create a public option. I believe California can lead the way for America by creating a strong public option. In order to accomplish these and all of our priorities, we must reduce the role of money in politics by empowering small donors, ending voter suppression, and overturning Citizens United. There is only one path forward for our families and our future. We must win the midterm elections. There, too, California can once again lead the way for America. California Democrats, are you ready to lead the way to victory in 2018? Are you ready to hold this administration and this Republican Congress accountable? Are you ready to send more strong Democrats to Congress as we elect a Democratic governor to succeed our great Governor Jerry Brown? You're ready, right? I thought so. onward to a great Democratic victory, and thank you all very much. God bless you, and God bless America. Hi, Bella. Thank you all. Hi, Bella. We're in a fight. When I said I first came here, my children were little. Now my granddaughter is here with Christine, Bella. We're in the fight of our lives, but we are equipped to win in California because of the firm foundation that Chairman John Burton has built for our party and the progressive values we champion. John is brilliant, visionary, battle-tested, and, on occasion, blunt. And now, with the Trump White House, he's leaving us just when his, shall we say, colorful language is most appropriate. I'm sure we'll be hearing from him. In the Congress, in the state legislature, John's leadership has gotten the J-O-B, the job done, as he would say. He's been invaluable to working families in California and across America. John is the chief architect of Democrats' dominance in California. John is a lion for our progressive values. Now let's hear what others have to say. Thank you, John Burton.
Words to describe John Burton.
Fearless.
Brilliant. Sweet. That'll make him cringe.
You wouldn't want to hear them.
Impatient.
Colorful.
Profane.
Oh, smart. Wickedly smart.
And loyal. Awesome.
Very, very kind.
Doesn't suffer fools.
Larger than life.
And results. Get the job done.
John Burton was raised in a family of 3 boys as the youngest, with 2 parents that always said, we are so fortunate, we have to give back.
There was no way they would ever let anybody starve. They would let anybody want for anything if they could share it.
At San Francisco State, as a student during the Vietnam War, he would come out very often at the request of the students and talk against the war and try to organize people. And I was impressed with his oratorical skills, if you will.
After initially meeting him in 1951, immediately recruited me to be a part of the then politics of San Francisco. And the Young Democrats were the touchstone, the incubator of what ultimately is the Democratic Party here in San Francisco today.
John Burton is a unique character in California politics. I know him well. I knew his brother. We've been around for a long time, since my father was governor.
In 1964, John Burton, from one of the most urban districts in the country in San Francisco, gets elected to the State Assembly. 9-10 months after he gets to the State Assembly, Cesar Chavez starts the grape boycott and his United Farm Workers movement in Delano, and John becomes the champion of that movement.
Well, when I worked for John, he was always a progressive voice. He wanted to make sure that the Defense Department was not so riddled with waste, that we could take some of those funds and use them here at home.
I first met John, that I remember, when I was elected to the Assembly in 1994. Being his seatmate, really what it meant was that he chose me because he thought I was progressive enough that if he gave me permission to vote for him, I would vote the right way, probably. The one time I had a bill where he disagreed with me and I was off trying to get votes on the floor, he pressed my button against my own bill.
And that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter.
I do.
The reality is, when John Burton took over in the legislature, in the state Senate, he became the second most powerful person in California politics. And sometimes I thought perhaps even the most powerful person in politics in California.
I learned more dirty words from him than all the rest of the political folks I ever met in my entire life.
It's off-putting, but he's used it for so long as a verb, as an adjective, as a noun, as a pronoun,
There's an economy in that language. Somebody says fuck no, it means fuck no.
He should walk around with a T-shirt with a warning label on it, and keep distance away from your kids. Heck, not even kids, adults.
It was always entertaining for journalists to interview John and to edit him.
I'll give you a real bad example, okay? Prop 13 up the state forever.
I'm sure it's not as bad as you're saying.
People say, how could this have happened? Well, it happened because they bought a bag of bull and voted for it.
You curse more than a West Coast rapper.
Who?
John Burton is the most authentic person. His language is authentic. His purpose is sincere, and his effectiveness is undeniable.
John's politics were to do things for people in a dramatic way, totally in an undiplomatic style.
Maybe we could pass that too. I asked for.
He never really made enemies in his fights. You walked away sometimes bowed and bloodied, but it was never about being your enemy. It was about a strong belief.
This man did not have a constraint on the number of issues that stimulated him and caused him to go into action.
John really is someone who just cares a lot about people in everything that he does.
And he's been that way in every role he's ever been in, whether it's here at home, in the state.
He knows how things work, and he doesn't fall for phony schemes.
And I think that's the difference that John makes in politics. Cut the bullshit, cut the crap, do something that's right and real for people.
And I can recall many, many times when he would be doing the Big Five negotiations with the governor, he would drop something in that would help those people that were powerless. He always has, that's just the way he is.
And the more powerful he became, and the more involved he got in leadership positions, the more he focused his time and attention on those folks.
John was a master at being able to bring his caucus along in terms of getting behind something that might be daring.
If I don't do this right, I'm going to be publicly criticized by John. I'm going to be publicly challenged by John. I'm going to be publicly humiliated if I'm wrong by John. How does that impact you? That sets the highest standards for you to try to achieve.
He often had this great expression for Mrs. Barbara. He says, just remember, in your life, when you do something politically, you have to wake up the next morning and you have to look yourself in the mirror after you shave. I said, thanks, John.
It's amazing to think about the Bay Area, to think about California politics, to think about aspects of this country that have been profoundly improved because of the Burton family.
I don't think anyone knows the extent of what John Burton has done for the movement. Like, we've only scratched the surface.
He has led our party to new heights, but because of that, he's led our national party in terms of California's vision and progressive agenda. Now our national party gets it.
He seeks no recognition on anything, nothing.
The guiding kind of principle that he's always taught me, and that we actually have in the cement at the John L. Burton Democratic headquarters, is one can do a great deal of good in this world if one doesn't care who gets the credit.
John Burton will go down as the guy who gave life and structure and success to the California Democratic Party. And even I couldn't do that. And I didn't do that. Well, I got to be governor, but I couldn't do what he did as party chairman. So that's pretty neat.
For decades, John has been a tireless champion empowering women to run and win their elections. He was my campaign chair the first time I ran for office. And now let's hear what some other California women leaders have to say about John Burton. Here they come.
Buenos dias. Good morning, California. My name is Hilda El Solis, and I currently serve as LA County Board of Supervisor for Los Angeles. I served as former Labor Secretary under President Barack Obama, as well as former Congresswoman under the leadership of Nancy Pelosi, and also State Senator, first Latina to be elected under the leadership of none other than our great John Burton. I'm so honored to be here to tell you a little bit about my friend John. I don't know if he remembers, but on that critical day when he asked for support to become the pro tem, the women came forward. Senator Diane Watson, Senator Teresa Hughes, and yours truly, Hilda Solis. And you know why? It was plain and simple. He cares a great deal about our families, about people who live in poverty, about homelessness, about people who are the everyday heroes out there that are unsung, that work hard every single day. He taught us so much. He taught me a lot. And if he didn't scream at you, that meant he didn't love you. And he allowed me to serve and to also show me that a woman, Latina, could also preside over the floor of the Senate. He did that. He allowed for faces like ours to be projected. I'm so proud that he is my friend and amigo, and there's so much more that we can expect from him. On behalf of the County Board of Supervisors, we have a plaque that is given to him on behalf of our county board, which is now a supermajority of women and progressive Democrats. Thank you, John, mi amigo, Juan. Gracias.
Good morning, California Democrats. My name is Barbara Lee, and I represent the 13th Congressional District of California in Alameda County. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here and being the heart and soul of the resistance movement. Thank you, Democrats. I'm so honored first to be with my leader and, of course, our speaker, Nancy Pelosi, who is leading the charge in Washington, D.C. against this un-American Trump agenda. Thank you, Leader Speaker Pelosi. We got a lot of work to do, a few more months, and we know what we need to do. But I want to just say to you how honored I am to be here to join all of you and all of our great women in paying tribute to a man whose phenomenal leadership has driven our party to new heights, Chairman John Burton. New heights. Now, John has been my friend and colleague since I was a congressional staffer for the great Congressman Ron Dellums. That goes way back to the day. When I was in the Assembly, he was my chair of the Public Safety Committee, and I have to tell you, way back then, he led the charge against mass incarceration here in this state of California. He voted against 3 strikes. He was a brilliant, brilliant chairman. He was my president pro tem when I served in the California Senate, and of course, he has been our bold chairman of the California Democratic Party. Now, through all of this remarkable service, John Burton has stayed the course as a warrior and a fierce fighter for justice and equality. John is a man of undeniable passion and courage and conviction. And you know he has fought tirelessly to do the hard work of forging a more robust and effective California Democratic Party. And John, we know that your legacy will live on in so many ways. It will live on in the grassroots that you've worked to empower. It will live on in a bold progressive vision and agenda that you have advanced. And it will live on with a sustainable party built on your fiscal stewardship. And your work will live on in the victories that we achieved in that we will achieve in 2018. Yes, we will. Yes, we will, and beyond, and beyond. And so I'm just here to say thank you, Chairman Burton, for your extraordinary service and your friendship. Thank you for making the California Democratic Party a party of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I want to thank the California Democratic Party for being the most progressive Democratic Party in the nation. And it's been led by John Burton, who is, as we're saying, brilliant, blunt, honest, cantankerous, unique, and passionate. We will miss you, John, but we know you'll be fighting the good fight and leading the way in everything that you do. Thank you again. Really good to be home.
Good morning, Democrats. I'm Senator Toni Atkins from San Diego. I am truly honored to be with this incredible group of leaders to honor John Burton. You know, several years ago, during one of San Diego's ever-frequent crises, we needed to elect a mayor. And John Burton called and said, "What can I do?" Now, we didn't win that race. We worked hard. It was a special. We didn't win it. But John Burton had our backs in San Diego, and I want to thank him for that. Clap loud, San Diego. And when I became Speaker of the California State Assembly, John Burton called me, and he said, "Babe, you're the real deal. You can do this." John, that meant the world to me. I also remember the time when John Burton got Pete Knight, one of the most anti-gay legislators in the Capitol, to support funding for an historic old building in San Francisco. Now, John, you conveniently forgot to mention to him that the rehab was actually turning that building into the San Francisco LGBT Center. In every role that you've played, John, you fought for the poor and the powerless. You got a second chance, and you have used every minute since to deliver second chances to others. Homeless kids, foster kids, people struggling with addiction are to overcome and move forward after incarceration. Those of us in the Democratic Party will carry on your legacy as chair, John. We will empower the grassroots, and we will build for the future. And John, I know that I speak for everyone up here when I say, as Keely Smith once sang, "There will never, ever be another you." Love you, babe.
Good morning, Democrats. I'm Fiona Ma. I'm on the California State Board of Equalization. It was 1995, and I was 28 years old and just started my own accounting practice. At a Chinese-American Democratic Club meeting, Jim Wakub and Linda Post gave me a tip that John Burton was hiring a Chinese aide. I didn't think I had a chance since I was born and raised in New York, never ran for office, had no friends or family in office, and I don't speak a lot of Chinese. So I was surprised when he and Melanie Blum hired me. Working for him as a district representative for 7 years, I learned that our doors are open to anyone and everyone who needed our help, especially those that needed our help the most, like the homeless, foster youth, single moms, and our elder community. We watched him stand up and fight for what is right time after time. If there was a tough fight, John was leading it. He taught us to value loyalty and to always remember who brought us to the dance. And we learned that our word is our bond, that once we took a position, we were not to flip-flop. And he is extremely humble and shies away from taking credit. He doesn't need to pat himself on the back or sit in his trophy room, but takes comfort in knowing he made a difference in people's lives. In difficult situations, I often ask myself, what would John do? More often than not, we agree, but sometimes he still yells at me. I feel lucky that John picked me 22 years ago and took a chance on me, and that I am standing on this stage with so many amazing women that he mentored and inspired. I am and always will be a proud Burton babe.
Good morning, Democrats. My name is Betty Yee, and I am the controller of the great state of California. It is my deep honor to add to the tributes to a wonderful, wonderful leader, the likes of whom we will likely not see again. But the calling of his work is really the calling of us as a party going forward. And I am so grateful to Chairman Burton for the lessons that he is leaving all of us, whether we are longtime activists or newer activists, and that is, we are not doing this work to get headlines. And we're not doing this work just to make ourselves feel good. This work is about something much bigger than any of us, than each of us or any of us collectively. And it's about helping those who are the least among us, who have the least among us. And we need say no more about the tremendous track record of this extraordinary, extraordinary leader, John Burton. He is fierce, he is unapologetic, he is a moral compass for justice, social justice, economic justice, environmental justice, reproductive justice, equality, and justice for all. Now I know that each of us standing on this stage have had the wonderful privilege of having a personal relationship with John Burton. And for me, I just have to say how grateful I am for his mentorship, but more importantly, grateful for his partnership in the support of the work we have done to lift up the poor among us, our neighbors living with disabilities, our sisters and brothers without homes, and our most vulnerable youth. And I know, John, much of your service has been inspired by the work and the drive of your brother Philip, who was moved by a rage for justice, and your work, John, has been moved by a thirst and hunger for justice for those who are the least among us. And as a native San Franciscan, I could not be more proud to say to a native son of San Francisco, John Burton, we are so, so proud to have your legacy in our city, but also across this great state and across this great nation. We share a dream that if we can do everything we can to lift up those who have the least among us, anything is possible and we can be great. I am standing proof of the fact that within one generation, as the second daughter of Chinese immigrant parents, that I could be serving as the CFO of the 6th largest economy in the world. And so each of us on this stage will carry our own thirst and hunger for justice, and more importantly, we do it in tribute to our loving John Burton. Congratulations, John. I love you.
Hello, my name is Marta Escutia, former state senator. Thank you. And I am, for maybe I think 6 more hours, I am your co-chair for the Resolutions Committee. Just another 6 hours for me. I served with John Burton from 1992 until 2004 in both the Assembly and the Senate. And during that time, he and I were both chairpersons of Judiciary Committees. I was the chair of Assembly Judiciary, he was the chair of Senate Judiciary, then he became the president of the Senate, then I became the chairwoman of the Judiciary Committee. And I would just like to tell you one story of how John, for me, was the ultimate safety net. It was during the early 2000s, and I was in the Insurance Committee, and some person from San Francisco, an attorney, told me, I have some documents that I need for you to read because it will basically show that the Department of Insurance, under Republican Insurance Commissioner, has been for sale. I received those documents, I read them, and they were explosive documents. I then went to John Burton, I said, John, and I hope you remember this, John, I said, John, I have a bag here, literally a paper bag of documents, and I really want you to read this. and then and take him home, and you tell me the next day what to do. He read the documents. The next day we met, and he said, we have to release the documents because that's what the people need. It's a transparent way of dealing with this. And Martha, I have to protect you. And the way I will protect you is by creating a special committee on insurance bad faith. You will be the chair, and therefore you get the benefit of the legislative protection. So I wouldn't be sued by everybody else. And John, after that, basically that was the downfall of the Republican Insurance Commissioner. And more importantly, it showed to me that John was the safety net. This is bad for my reputation. I shouldn't be crying. That John was the safety net that I never had when I was growing up. But John is very humble about these type of things. He doesn't even realize the impact that he has had on people's lives. And I would like and John has hired the most amazing staff, men and women. He has hired them, he has mentored them, he has brought them into his office, and he has taught them what it means to be a liberal, what it means to be effective and get the job done, and you know what it means to be a person of your word, and your word is your bond. So please, if I can have those wonderful men and women to please come forward, those men and women that have been mentored by John Burton. Shonda Wesley, Elmi Bermejo. I can go on and on, Bob Giroux, Skip. And also, I would like to bring his family, his daughter Kimiko, Stephen Reynolds, his granddaughter Michaela, and his grandson Juan. These are the people that John has mentored. These are the people that have served you as Democrats in providing the best and the most transparent service for this Democratic Party. And Johnny, that's right. And Johnny, recognizing that you were Mexicano in another life. You were Mexican in another life. Here is your guayabera with the California Democratic Party logo. Juanito. Now, there's one of our states, our U.S. senators could not be here today, Dianne Feinstein, so she's asked us to read this message to John. And this from Dianne Feinstein. Welcome, fellow Democrats, gathered today for the 2017 California Democratic Convention. I am sorry I cannot be with you this weekend. Please know that I am working very hard on your behalf in Washington, advancing progressive economic, social, and environmental policies. We would not be as well positioned today for this fight if it were not for the stalwart leadership of fellow San Franciscan and my dear friend, Chairman John Burton. Over the course of his more than 50-year career in public service, John has enshrined himself as one of our state's most transformative public servants. John's, and shall we say his unique style of leadership, embodies the bold and disruptive nature of California's politics, and doing what is right is not always easy. And like California, John is never one to shy away from a challenge. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you, my friend.
Let's join in acknowledging the wonderful message from Senator Feinstein. From day one, Barbara Boxer started as a staffer in John Burton's office. Then he encouraged her. She ran for supervisor, then for Congress, then for the United States Senate. She said she would never have accomplished all of that without the mentoring, the friendship, the love, and by the way, the candor of John Burton. So Barbara Boxer sends her regards.
Thank you. And then one last thing. And finally, and in closing, many of you don't really know the real John Burton. I hope that you realize that he's very much a humble person, and all these people behind here basically exemplify the fact that John has been the wind beneath our wings for all of us. He's been the wind beneath our wings. And the Johnny that I know, the John Burton that I know, many times he was under great pressure in Sacramento as the president of the Senate. And during those times, I would just, go into his office. We would do our secret meetings, which means we would give each other $1, and whatever we said was attorney-client privilege. Remember the dollar bill, John? So, you can imagine what gossip we shared, and it went with us to the grave. But always at the end of those meetings, and that dollar bill, I think, is still underneath the glass top in the office of the Senate Pro Tem. After every single meeting or in the hallway, and if I noticed that John was a little bit pressured, I would just basically break out and do something very unusual, but I know that it would really get to him. And that was, Bésame, bésame mucho. Como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que yo no quiero perderte otra vez. Love you, John.
Actually, I used to like him more better. Holy shit. I knew they were doing something, but I didn't know they were doing this. And actually, Bob Scheer, who was on there, one of the great political reporters, kind of let it out of the bag. And I says, they're really doing something? So I had to act like I didn't know the secret. But first of all, Nancy Pelosi, the most fun I ever had in my life was her political campaign, because we were not supposed to win, and we did. Hilda Solis should be a little, can't think of what the term is, but when she and another Latino leader, Rich Polanco from LA, used to have some problems, and she always used to worry about Richard. I got to protect her from Richard. And she became Secretary of Labor. I called her up. I said, congratulations. Repeat after me, Richard Polanco. She said, my grandkids are here, so I don't want to say the word. So it's what I said, Richard, I made her say it twice. I said, you're Secretary of Labor, for Christ's sake. He can't hurt you. Tony Atkins became the Speaker of the Assembly with not a lot of experience behind her. I mean, Willie and I got elected together, and I mean, it was like 6 years before we were even committee chairs, and she became the Speaker and did a wonderful job with a person that didn't have that experience, and she'll do great things again. I'm the man who made Martha Escutia cry. She's one of the toughest people I ever knew in my life, and was wonderful and was smart. And I'd talk to her and I'd go like, I don't understand this stuff. So, She said, well, you're a lawyer. I said, no, I'm licensed to practice law. You're a lawyer. And she was fabulous, just fabulous. Barbara Lee, you gotta love Barbara Lee. This is the first convention since I've been chair that she hasn't proposed marriage to me. She got elected to Congress to replace Ronnie Dellums, one of the great liberals and progressives in the history of the House. Congressman George Miller said, what's that Barbara Lee like? I said, the only thing I can say, George, the moment you see her and meet her, you're gonna smile, because that's what she would bring out in people. She just had that pleasant thing, and she'd smile, never stood down, never stood back on any vote, and was one of the few at the very outset of the first stupid war in Iraq. Fiona Ma, she's gone to heights that I never would have dreamed when she came to work with me. I say with me, not for me, because trust me, when you're working and have these strong women working with you, they ain't working for you half the time, you're working for them, trust me. And she's gonna, God knows where she's gonna stop, but she went to the Board of Supervisors where she wasn't supposed to win, then moved in the State Assembly, moved up. I think she's running for higher office now, and there's no stopping Fiona at all. Looks like she is. I never taught Betty Yee anything. She's one of the smartest goddamn people I've ever met in government. And I want to tell you about Betty Yee. She's running for controller. And Bill Lockyer, at that time, was treasurer, and he was thinking about controller. And he had a shit pot full of money in the bank, millions. And I said, you know, Betty, you could walk into the treasurer's office. I mean, you could beat anybody running for that. She says, I don't want to be the treasurer. I want to be controller. That's what I do. That's what I do. It's numbers, Senate finances, Assembly Ways and Means. So then Billy dropped out, then Speaker Perez went, and against all odds, who ends up our state? Betty Yee. And when I ran for party chair the first time, I said, I got to talk to Betty, get her support. Somebody said, well, what's Betty? I said, she's more goddamn popular with the rank and file than I am. You know I need her support. Who's next? Oh. This is my charming daughter, who can be fairly cantankerous. We're in an argument, surprisingly. I says, where the hell did you learn to get that stubborn? She looked around and said, you. My daughter, Kim. What's his last name? Okay. My daughter reminded me that this is the birthday of, I guess in the new phrase, her significant other, Stephen Reynolds. She said this was his party for them. So, Stephen. My granddaughter, Makala. And Juanito. For those of you that don't habla, Juanito is Little John, so you can see, you know. Anyway, I was really stunned. I knew something was happening, but every one of these people, every one of them, had made me basically what I was in the state legislature, Because if you're in the state legislature or somewhere, you're only as good as your staff. And in my situation, the staff was a hell of a lot better than me. Trust me, smart, liberal, and take no prisoners. And I mean, I would get credit for so much stuff, and I mean, no idea what somebody come with that. Really, that's a problem. You know, I knew how to fix a problem, because if you're the, but as before I was pro tem, but as pro tem, you solve the problem by looking somebody in the eye and say, okay, I know you get a lot of money from this interest, so the next time you want a committee assignment, you go see the guy that represents the insurance company, and he might give it to you. But if you're looking to me, you better vote for the goddamn bill. But, and I'll get out of it, but this has been a great ride, great officers of the party with me. But the people that make it work are you all out here, the volunteers, the people, some call them activists, I still call them because you can be active doing this, chat, chat, chat. You're a volunteer when you stuff the envelopes, when you make the phone calls, when you ring the doorbells. Yeah, I'll tell, but I learned something, you know, from my father, both Philip and my brother Bobby and I. We're walking down the street, San Francisco Market Street was a big deal with the department stores. And in those days, there used to be blind people, and they'd be selling pencils, playing the accordion, whatever. At that time, fortunately, there weren't the number of homeless and people down on their luck that there are now. At least they were invisible people to most of us. And my father reached into his pocket, pulled out some change, dropped it in the cup, gave me some money, dropped it in the cup. I go, what was that about? Put his finger in my face and told me he never, ever wanted to see me walk by some guy who was in bad circumstances without leaving something in his cup or giving him a buck. And that's what Democrats do. That's what Democrats do. I'm sure most of the people in this room, maybe some others, and anybody who had to go through the foster care program, never went down without a meal, never went down without a roof in their head. And there's a lot of people out there, and if we don't fight for them, nobody else is going to fight for them because they don't have any power. They don't have any power. And in closing, I just want to thank you very much. This was very enjoyable, actually. But I like the other sign to come out. I want to thank the people that do this, that interpret for those. Come on. Now, all together, Donald Trump.
And although most men are hoes, he flows on the down low, 'cause I never heard about him with another girl. But I don't